don't let us assume that our viewers know what is cyber threat and cyber attack or cyber security. From your view, what is cyber threat and attack?
Thank you very much. Cyber threat and cyber attack starts with, let's examine what the word cyber really means. What does cyber means? Cyber means something that is virtual, something that you can't really touch, like the table right in front of me. So cyber attacks are attacks that is done over, attacks carried out over the internet on computer infrastructures, information infrastructures of the guy on the other side of the fence. So essentially, these are not physical attacks with a thief coming to your house with a knife or with a gun. It's something that is carried out with the use of technology, with the use of that is done via the internet or otherwise, or even on a local network. Yeah.
Okay. Yinka, what's your view about cyber attack? In short.
I think it's probably nice to also try and break it down a little bit. If you ask yourself what's security all about, I think ideally what you're interested in when you talk about security is something that ensures that there is no harm, there is no sort of feel of fear of vulnerability, as it were. When you talk about cybersecurity, obviously you're looking at this from the point of view of how do you secure systems and assets. And when these systems and assets are obviously exploited for unauthorized purposes, then you start talking about cyber attack. And obviously that's the threat itself are usually the efforts that obviously leads to the attack. So it could be either a virus, a malware, a spyware, as it were. Obviously things that ultimately ensures that the original purpose is compromised. And that's the whole idea of cyber attack and cyber security, as it were.
How are they carried out for the purpose of our audience?
Obviously, yes. I mean, my colleague here on the panel mentioned the fact that this is something that is happening almost like remotely virtual. So you want to look at it from the point of access. First, you have to get access. Then the next thing you talk about is vulnerability. You need to exploit that vulnerability. Of course, the next thing is the payload, which is basically to what purpose? What's the intention? What's the ramification? What's the scope or the scale? So if you look at cyber attack as it moves itself, you obviously first have to gain access. So it doesn't necessarily even be, and again back to his point about even on your local network, not necessarily in the internet alone. So it could be somebody just even on the local network getting access to privileges or rights that he's not necessarily entitled to. So that's when you talk about the access. The next thing obviously is the vulnerability, obviously, that you can, so what's the back door that you can basically exploit? And obviously the next thing, or the last thing really, is the intent, which is the payload. Why are you doing this? It could be for criminal intention, it could be just for financial reward, it could even just be for the heck of it. There are people who out there just want to be able to have bragging rights that, you know what, I can actually get this done.
Okay. Michael, please, I want to ask you, of recent, we hear of this Heartbleed bug. And from reports, I learned that even government officials, security parastatals, and even hackers use this medium to log into unauthorized information and data of people, without you having any traces that this is happening to your system or your data and information.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Heartbleed is, for the first time, there is a bug, and the company that discovered the bug had to come up with a beautiful picture of the heart that is really bleeding. It's a huge vulnerability, that was discovered in the process of another company trying to test out to see if their own software is secure. So they found this bug on the Open SSL. SSL means Secure Socket Layer, and it's actually an open source platform that virtually almost all the companies that have websites use it for the security of their website.
Okay.
So with this breach, it's huge in terms of what can be done with it. But let's not forget that there is actually a difference between a vulnerability and a threat. A vulnerability says that, oh, in your house there is a window through which a criminal can come in. But it becomes a threat really when it moves to become a threat when somebody has attempted to come in through that window or successfully comes in,
gain entrance.
Yeah, so as it were, it's a huge vulnerability, and I believe in the next few weeks, or probably there's been some other hackers have discovered it earlier, but they make any news of it, you know. But I believe we'll start hearing stories of attacks that are actually carried out, you know, using exploiting that vulnerability in the open SSL.
Thank you. But on the last note, I would like both of you, you know, to just chip in a bit of advice for our viewers when it comes to security online, their safety, you know, information and data. I start with you, Moni.
Again, I think we've alluded to the fact that the internet is here to stay. And we all see the value of actually being online and getting onto the internet. The benefits are out there, and we cannot deny it. But obviously we expect, I would recommend that people get online and do so almost like responsibly. I mean, people talk about drink responsibly. Yeah. So maybe this is a case where you're saying get online responsibly. When you're going online, ensure that you're doing so with a consciousness. We started by talking about security calls for consciousness. So a consciousness of the fact of what you're doing online, ensure that you protect yourself. I mean, I give an example. If I want to use my credit card, I better use that on a PC that I probably own or within an environment that I'm comfortable with, rather than go to a cyber cafe and actually go and use my credit card or details there. So little things that ensures that you're conscious of every action and the implication of those actions, and also doing stuff that ensures that you are protected. Selfishly, I would not but end by the fact that obviously staying genuine and obviously using the genuine and original OS definitely, software, not just OS, ensures that obviously we all stay protected.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. Yemi, your take.
Okay, on a final note, it calls for us, first of all, sourcing information. We have to know that genuinely there is a threat, and you stay with the basics. It's for the end user, it's not really that complex, you know. Be aware, you know, if you notice something strange on your PC, if your PC takes longer to boot, for example, or if it's, you know, you just notice that something seems wrong, you have to ask questions and seek expert advice. You know, and of course you run your antivirus, you make sure you have a genuine antivirus, you make sure your softwares are original. And again, I will still stay with the fact that you have to make sure you have a licensed original operating system running. And on the larger part, for the government, for the big organization, security has to be taken responsibly. Security should not be a reaction. It shouldn't be until something happens. It has to be deliberate, and it has to be well thought through and implemented.
All right, thank you. It has been exciting today in the studio with me, discussing on the topic, cyber threats, security, and even attacks. I'm glad to have these two gentlemen in the studio. Mr. Yemi, I'm glad to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Mr. Oni.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Us.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.